Well, we're tracking an incredibly strong storm that's going to be moving across the country as we head through the weekend. Take a look at this. A strong jet streak out ahead of what looks to be a pretty strong trough that'll be swinging through the central and southern United States. Out ahead of this, some severe weather. We could be dealing with damaging winds, hail, and some tornadoes. There's also going to be a cold side of this and a very, very wet side to this too, with flooding possible. Flood watches, I should say. And there's multiple flood warnings embedded within this already. We've seen just so much rain across this part of the country, and more rain is ahead, unfortunately. In fact, some areas could see 3, 4, 5 inches of rain. If you look at these numbers, really impressive across parts of Tennessee and Kentucky, up into Virginia, West Virginia, southern Ohio, and then across the south, especially across Arkansas, northern Mississippi, and Alabama, with all of the rain that's moving in. And again, the severe weather outlook, definitely impressive looking. This is looking from the Storm Prediction Center. They've hashed this area out across southern Arkansas, Louisiana. This has been pushed up a little bit, so now you can get the idea. These hashes mean look out. That's a significant risk area that you've got to watch. And this is day 3. I expect this to be refined even more tomorrow as some of the short-range models come into view here. And then all the way up into Kentucky, we could see some strong to severe thunderstorms, some damaging winds, and maybe even some isolated tornadoes anywhere in this area. Let's time some of this out for you now. Welcome to the video today, guys. If you're brand new, thanks for coming by. I'm Travis. I appreciate you guys stopping over. I used to be a meteorologist many years ago on TV, many years ago. And I've been out of that business for a while. So if you enjoy following this stuff, I hope you will come back and subscribe if I've been hitting your algorithm. All right, let's take a look at what's going on. Quiet across the southeast, and then we're going to move north and west. We're going to try to hit everybody tonight. Rain starts to increase across Arkansas. This could be heavy here too, especially as we head now into Saturday, early Saturday morning through the midday into parts of Kentucky, into Indiana. Some ice possible too from central Indiana over into Ohio, and then maybe even here on the east side of the mountains. Now as our warm front lays, well, probably something like this across North Mississippi, right along that Tennessee line. Anywhere south of that, that's going to be a really unstable area, and that, I think, would be the place where you could see some strong damaging winds and some tornadoes. And some of the modeling has been trying to put some real strong storms up into Tennessee as well. Now, as we move into the afternoon, as the cold front moves closer and closer, you're going to get storms that want to be more linear in fashion. That doesn't mean you don't have enough cyclonic flow or wind shear, that change of wind direction with height due to that cyclonic flow aloft. That doesn't mean you're not going to see tornadoes embedded within these thunderstorms. So I think that's going to be a risk. Pretty far to the north, maybe even up into Tennessee and Kentucky, and then all the way down to the Gulf Coast. So this is a little bit further to the north with the severe weather than what we've seen so far in quite some time. Snow now on the backside of this into parts of Illinois and Indiana. We'll continue to track that out in time. But if you look at the snow map over the next week or so, some other areas are starting to show up. How about that? I don't know if I believe it everywhere just yet. I'm going to break all that down. Let's go into it right now. High pressure moving into the east. There's your snow across the west. That's our storm moving in. Big snow, big wind, and big rain too, all across the west. Our next round of snow moving toward the Great Lakes as we move into Friday evening. Some of this will start to pick up. We have some overrunning moisture here, so you'll see that snow into parts of Iowa, up into Minnesota, Wisconsin, a couple of inches here. Some areas could see more than 6 inches, but most of that snow, at least the heaviest snow, to me, looks like it's going to move into Wisconsin and then into southern Canada here into Ontario. Now, as we move into Saturday, we start to see our storms develop, especially here into the afternoon and evening across the south. Some really heavy rain here and some snow into the northeast too. Let's move this ahead pretty quickly in time, and then we're going to really track things out. Cold air pushing all the way down into Texas, rain changing to snow across parts of Indiana and Ohio. Now, I'm going to move this through pretty quickly because this is just the first of what I think could be a couple more storms on the way. Definitely one more after this. It looks to me like, anyway. Cold Arctic air building in. This is your what's left of your polar vortex dropping pretty far to the south here as we disrupt what's going on across the Arctic. That's been happening now for several days, and now you've really crunched. Look at this. This is a 1051 area of high pressure. That is Arctic air pushing all the way down into the south. With your boundary line laying like this, your energy is going to come in. It's going to likely slide right along that. And that's what we're seeing here on the models. That's how the European is handling it. It's putting snow into Kansas, Oklahoma. I don't know if I want to get into the rain snow line at this point. It looks to me like it's across Oklahoma with that mixed precipitation, and maybe into Arkansas and Missouri with the snow. Boom. What happened, right? Where did it go? Well, the European's doing something really weird here. I'm not exactly sure if it's catching on to what's happening here, but you've got a strongly negatively tilted trough, and now it's trying to develop low pressure on the east side of that with, are we going to get some kind of jet streak swinging through here? And that's what's going to give you that rapid upward vertical motion, and that could put some heavy snow into Virginia, West Virginia, Kentucky, maybe even into D.C. and Pennsylvania, up along the northeast coast into New Jersey, Delaware, right here. Now, we're talking about a week away. I don't buy it yet. I get it. A lot of folks come in and say, there's no way I don't buy it. I'm not either. I'm just showing you. That's the European. Check this out, guys. This is the GFS that ran earlier today. Sometimes I call it the goofus, right? Sometimes it's way out there, but very similar. It doesn't have maybe as much snow into Oklahoma. Well, maybe it does. It's pretty far south here into Missouri and then into Kentucky. It doesn't do that weird thing there. It's almost like the European skipped the frame or something. And then it develops low pressure here along the East Coast. But the GFS, boom, right there it goes. It's a little bit further to the east. If you look at the one that just ran this evening, which I don't know if I put much stock into it, man, it's really far to the south. It doesn't use as much data, so I'm not going to lean into this just yet. It definitely avoids the northeast. And then beyond this, I don't know. I think there are more chances for snow. We may start to warm up, but look, kind of a cold pattern setting up, and it looks like it may stick around. We're heading into March, though, so winter getting shorter and shorter for all of you spring lovers, hoping for some warmer weather. All right, there comes the snow into the Great Lakes, moving into southern Ontario. We've talked about all this rain and severe weather across the south, but there's also going to be some ice on the north side of this as the precipitation moves into the northeast, and maybe a band of heavy snow before we transition over to some sleet and freezing rain across southern New England, southern parts of New York, and Pennsylvania. Strong low pressure developing here, a lot of wind out ahead of it and a lot of wind behind it. So a lot of dynamics happening here in the atmosphere as a result. Big time wind and big snow. I think your winner, if you're looking for snow, to me, looks to be here in this axis here from southern Ontario, north of Lake Erie, north of Lake Ontario into Canada. And then this moves up the east coast. Heavy snow into Maine. We're talking about several inches of snow. Now, this is the newest European model that came out today, taking you through Saturday. You can see several inches back across the Great Lakes. The forecast is maybe just a little bit lower than that, but still a couple of inches here. And if you look up toward the northeast, up into Canada, look at all of that snow adding up here. These are 24-hour totals. I'm going to go back to this total accumulation, more than 2 feet maybe into right there along the U.S.-Canadian border into Maine. I mean, some of these numbers are close to 40 inches in northern Maine. And even the official forecast, these are touch numbers here, over a foot here. Very impressive. There's going to be some ice. We've talked about that too, all the way from New England down into the mid-Atlantic and then back across parts of Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, even Iowa, as everything gets all messed up with that warm air moving north, and you get the ice right in here. All right, cold air behind it, changing things over to some snow before the precipitation ends. This is across the central U.S., and now we're watching our next storm pushing off to the east. What's going to happen here? I mean, right? That's where all eyes are going to be heading into next week. I hope you'll subscribe and come back. This is going to be a very interesting weather pattern to follow over the next couple of days. And we're starting to get a little bit quieter across the west through the weekend into the first part of next week, although there will be some precipitation, especially across the Pacific Northwest and then into the Intermountain West as these storms continue to push off to the east. Big snow still falling in the Sierra. That's going to continue, and it's going to spread east further into the Rockies here, and maybe even to the Four Corners states with some snow up here into the mountains and some rain down into the valleys. All right, more to come on the severe weather. Again, a lot happening over the next couple of days. Stay weather aware. If you're just joining me, this is the end of the live stream. I hope you'll come back, and you can watch the video from the beginning here. All right, have a great night. See you next time.